Alright, Elko teachers, I wanted to share with you the data from the fall 2012 Reflective Friends visit. We did a fantastic job, so congratulations to those 12 teachers who participated in the process this go around. Again, 6 teachers were selected. They knew well ahead of time that they were going to be observed, and 6 teachers were completely random. They did not know until the observers actually walked into their room that they were going to be observed that day. So let's start looking at the data for the total Elko teachers. When Reflective Friends comes, they score the teachers differently than the students, so those are two separated areas that they collect data on. As you can see here, we have 4 categories: research and information fluency, communication and collaboration, critical thinking and problem solving, and creativity and innovation. We went up in all categories from last spring except for creativity and innovation, so that's something to be applauded. Looking at total teachers, this just breaks it down so that you can compare the total teachers, then compare to the selected teachers, and then compare to the random teachers. So for total teachers, you can see that it ranges from entry to target. We have 1 classroom in target and communication and collaboration, and you can see that it breaks it down into select versus random. So you can see that, as kind of expected, the select teachers scored higher than the random teachers did. Random teachers hitting into the developing range, but not the approaching range in any of those categories. Looking down by actual category of the tip chart, research, we can see here that 75% of classrooms were not observed using research. This is with the understanding that it's a 40-minute observation, and it's very difficult to actually have the observers see all 4 categories at high levels during that short amount of time. So by it not being observed, it just simply means that it was not focused on during that lesson. Teachers generally picked 2 categories to focus on, and 75% of them did not choose the research strand. The ones that did fell into the entry and developing range for fall 2012, and you can see how that compares to all the other years in the chart. And going down to communication, you can see that 8% not observed. We went up to the ideal target range in this category. Critical thinking, 17% not observed, and we went up to the approaching category. Creativity almost mirrors research. A lot of teachers did not, during the lesson that was observed, during the part of the lesson that was observed, focus on creativity. 67% was not observed, and it goes up to approaching. Now let's take a look at the students. This year it's very important that we look at the student outcomes, so we will be also comparing this to the spring data. Went up in all categories with the exception of creativity and innovation, and select teachers scored higher than the random teacher students. As far as student research, student communication, and so on, it pretty much mirrors the teacher data. 67% not observed, and it goes up to developing. Communication, 25% not observed, so that's a little higher on that range, and it goes up to approaching. Critical thinking, 8% not observed, goes up to approaching. And the creativity, 58% not observed, and goes up to approaching. So it's also interesting to kind of compare these year to year. Now let's look kind of at an overview. How did we score higher than last year, particularly in the spring, since that was supposed to be the end point? Teachers focused on 1 or 2 areas of the tip chart instead of trying to focus on all 4, so that way they scored higher in those 2 categories, and the other categories simply remarked not observed and did not factor into the calculations or the overall averages. Many teachers discussed lessons with the ITRT beforehand to get some feedback, also work with the librarian. What did the team see overall that was impressive? Elko teachers are willing to try new technologies. They have an excellent rapport with students, can improvise when the technology doesn't work, are flexible, and provide students with a choice of tools to use. How will we continue to improve as a school? Continue to focus on specific areas of the tip chart, increase research skills, provide opportunities for students to create, continue to focus on the rigorous and relevance framework.